9,400 target hit, but what's next?
Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't.
Well. Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave. It's a nice little Thursday morning over here from a way too fucking sunny Helsinki, Finland. I swear, it's impossible to sleep here now. It's impossible to do. It doesn't matter how many curtains you have. Doesn't matter how black your room is. Can't be done, man. Just can't be done. Anyways, before I get into more of a tirade on my own bullshit, let me wish you a very nice and happy day. Perhaps the best of the best and the haps of the happiest, if you will. Because why the fuck not, man? It just makes the world maybe a little bit better, or at least it can perhaps help. Anyways, looking at our CrownChain application right here, which can be found for free at app.crownchain.net. We do see that Bitcoin price for one is at that 9,400 area that we spoke about yesterday, huh? Quite nice, isn't it? Anyways, looking at the open interest, we do see a massive spike up from yesterday to today as well, about 100 million being added to the open interest. So that does confirm in a more light way that sort of next move that we were looking for, continuation to the upside. But I really want to see it now jump up above 900 million while confirming above our next medium and higher term time frame range to really differentiate itself and confirm that we are continuing that next phase, which so far looks good, to be fair. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance also heading up a little, or actually down a little bit from yesterday, from 67.5 to 67.25. I don't know exactly when that updates, because I do remember yesterday it was actually 67 even, but fair enough. Still bullish on that. Still looking for that to rise up over the next month or two, up 70 plus most likely. So altcoins versus satoshis are unlikely to be keeping pace with Bitcoin. Doesn't mean that they're not going to do well versus the dollar. They probably do on the whole, and there should be some some outliers here and there as well. Total market cap at $250 million, almost a little bit above $250 million, it looks like. Or sorry, $250 billion, I should say. So, a little bit of an increase there, but more or less steady over the last week or so. And crypto fear and greed index actually going down, ticking one down from yesterday to today, from a 41 to a 40. Very interesting, again, nonetheless, as I do think this idea that I've been postulating for the last month and a half of Bitcoin climbing the wall of worry just based off that, I really think is starting to get more and more confirmed by looking at these metrics. I should also say I will not be on Twitch today. Sorry, before we get into the price analysis, I should say that I'm not going to be on Twitch today. Still waiting for computer parts, of which I can't stream until I actually get them. But I have been putting together a gaming channel, actually, which I want to eventually have a channel to represent all of my sort of everything that I'm interested in life. So got obviously the finances with this channel, then gaming would be a good hobby over there, kind of keep the old creative juices flowing. Then I want to have a health channel at some point, and then also a mindset channel too. But I feel like I want to explore more ideas before I get deeper into that one. Anyways, more importantly, I've been uploading videos to that channel. It's at Total Crown here on YouTube, spelled the same, and it's it's on gaming. So of course, if you're not gonna be interested in that, then no harm, no foul. It's all good. But if you are, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely go check it out, as that would be super cool. And more importantly, I should also say that I need or at least I'm looking for a graphical designer, so to help out with that channel. So very, very cool. And yeah, if that sounds like you, feel free to reach on out. Discord's going to be the best. Please do not email me, and for the love of fucking God, do not message me on TradingView. Jesus Christ, you could not find a worse place to message. Anything that's not Discord is just not good. I'll put it that way, man. I really dislike contacting versus email, or sorry, via email. Anyways, looking at Bitcoin price action right here, what do we see? We do see that Bitcoin had up. Whatever. It went up to that 9,400-ish area that we were looking for yesterday, and now it's going to have a chance to complete continuation, or at least in the way that I look for continuation, of which I do believe we likely confirm on the next tick with any sort of a 4-hour dildo closure, especially above 9,400, even above 9,350 likely gets it as well. And if we put on our drawing tools right here, just playing from blue box, or sorry, from horizontal to horizontal, very, very simple from yesterday, gets our first close above this 9,000-ish region right here, comes back, retests it, and then boom, that initiates our next move to 9,400. And for full disclosure, I want to be very, 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 very transparent as much as I can be without actually showing my positions. And yes, I have been long ever since about 8,250, holding the same position. And to document my options trades going forwards, I'll explain it now. So the way that I kind of pull that one through is initially when I bought down here, I sold some calls against it. I think the 85 strike against it to cover as Bitcoin rose up back to the 86 and 8700-ish region. Then once those expired, as I was using dailies, I started to move them on to our next area right here. As soon as Bitcoin broke 9,000, I used the 9250 strike calls to just sell a little bit against it. And then I also sold some 8750 strike calls against it as well for kind of like a deep cover, and then one to kind of like let it run. Because I do think that we are going to get continuation here. And well, we did get continuation. So I wanted to lock some in right there with a little bit of premium, and then also give myself a little bit of space for, for the other half of it essentially. And then what I'll do on this next one, assuming that they will expire tomorrow, then I'll just move it up, assuming that we actually break this 9400-ish region. I'll move them up somewhere into the mid 9,000s, probably, probably short either the 9250 strike again and the 9500, or we'll see when we get there. It's a little bit too early to call this one anyways. So yes, same sort of logic as yesterday essentially applies. If Bitcoin can close above this region, I do think that we will get extension all the way up to this blue box territory right here, as I've been saying for the last week and a half now, up to about 9750 to 9800-ish region. This does look good to me. I think a lot of people are very bearish after seeing this massive dump dildo party riding over here. But keep in mind, Bitcoin did not even make new lows. It just reaccumulated on the 21. And for me, the more important thing is looking at these major moving averages right here, of which we do have a perfect, well, I wouldn't say a perfect golden cross confirmed, but we have a damn good one. This is your golden cross right here. I'd consider this your test down here towards the 200 exponential moving average as the, as confirmation that the Boston algos were going to play this one out. And so far so good. And as I've been saying, as long as Bitcoin's above the 21 exponential moving average on a daily closing basis, I'm not bearish. And I'm just looking for things to kind of generally float onwards and upwards towards those path of least resistances, at those levels that we spoke about earlier. Looking at our momentum oscillators, this is all happening while daily Stokes have been coming steadily down, which is interesting because we also do have, I guess I already have it in there, this trend line coming in, providing support somewhere around the edge of the bearish control zone, which I would look for to probably start to flatten out around that region. Keep in mind, daily Stokes will naturally cross back up if we do close the next daily dildo above 9740. So that is right around that next major area that I have marked off to the upside, which is also not just that next targeted area, but also the 618 Fibonacci retracement from the ultimate high to the ultimate low of the last market cycle of 3,100 going all the way to 14,000. Also the nice massive order block before this humongous breakdown from 10,000 down to 4,400 in early March. And then also the major massive fake out that we saw in late October of 2019 when China banned or unbanned Bitcoin. I forget which one it was. They probably unbanned Bitcoin and then banned it again. Whatever the fuck it is. It's just like the same thing over and over again. But, same sort of area right here as well. So this area is fraught with peril, over the long term. And also, sorry, I forgot to mention this as well. Long-term trend line coming in from 14,000 and, in our more recent high connected 3-4 times. So it looks good to me. Overall, I really, really like that area. So Bitcoin does, Jesus Christ. What's up, man? Good to meet you. More source or open source? Good to meet you, man. Good to have you in here, and pleasure to have you. Anyways, why did I say pleasure to have you and also good to have you in here? I think I need more sleep, sir. I think I need more sleep. Sorry. Good to meet you. Jesus Christ. I can't speak right now. Anyways, yes. So this area right here, big area. Also pretty much around our last prior high that we put in early May, just about a week ago now, at about 10,000 even, it looks like. So if that area does get broken, I would look for a massive melt up phase actually to occur with an immediate move to 10,500, probably a short-term pullback from there, and then continuation to the 11,500-ish region, of which my macro view on that region is still more or less the same. If Bitcoin can break above 11,500, I'm not saying that it's going to, but if it does, then I would be looking at that as the next sort of really like the next sort of ultimate phase in Bitcoin. As I can say that I'd be targeting 16,000 after that or 20,000, but realistically I'd be looking at this as just another long-term uptrend, getting started actually. So keep in mind that the fibs here are also working pretty damn well. We got the 618 at our current resistance, or not at our current level, but a little bit towards the 9,800-ish region, which is the big one right now. And then we got the 0.5 right around 11,500. Also, volume profile is further confirming that fact as we completely drop off the face of the fucking earth above 11,500 as well. So things will become extremely volatile above that level. Anyways, let me get rid of this and let's go back down to the lower term timeframes. So as far as the lower term timeframes go, let me go back to BitMexico. There we go. If If we do close this next 4-hour dildo, like I said, above about 9,400, I would look for extension actually all the way up to probably 9,750 to 9,800 region. It's kind of sounds like a big, scary move right there. But let's see what momentum oscillators are kind of suggesting right now. We do see first and foremost, well, actually not a momentum oscillator, but we do see historical volatility percentile getting quite low here into the single digits once again. So I do think that we are poised for a nice move. Now, of course, this is not implied direction, but because there are some very nice areas of operation here with our blue box that we broke out from yesterday at around 9,000 base, and then of course our top side right here, I do think that it offers up some pretty easy ways to be getting this. And then more importantly, we will remain with upwards momentum on our lower term time frame oscillators as long as price action is essentially, well, riding the current wick low of this 4-hour dildo at 9,300-ish region. So a good area to kind of mark off as well, of which I do believe that we could do that actually right here. We could make a very small liquid zone. This I don't have this one in because I don't want my charts to get too convoluted, but because these ranges are getting a little bit more collapsed, I guess I'll put it in right there. So yeah, as long as it holds that, 4-hour momentum does remain to the upside. I'm curious how the lower term timeframes operate as well. This one will remain to the upside as long as we're above 93.78. So a little bit more aggressive there actually. 2-hour remains to the upside as long as we are above 94.23 on a closing basis, and hourly remains to the upside as long as we are above 93.55 on an hourly closing basis. So if we are going to get continuation right now, Bitcoin has to essentially be closing all these timeframes at the very least above 9,300 and probably even above 9,400. So maintaining these closures essentially above that next horizontal. So I like that the oscillators are essentially confirming this area as being a good pivot for the short-term timeframes. Remember, do not confuse though the short-term timeframes with the high and the macro timeframes, of which the areas for the high and the macro timeframes are extremely well documented here. 9,800, like I said, for the high time frames, 11,500 for the macro time frames. And to the downside, it's a little bit more diabolical here. It's a little bit more difficult, but I would say that Jesus Christ, what's up, Uno Deem? Or I think I'm saying that right. Good to meet you, man. To the downside, a little bit more diabolical, but the areas are pretty well documented here as well. So as long as we have 4-hour dildos closing above 9,000, I do look at this as essentially reaccumulation. However, if Bitcoin does start to close 4-hour dildos below 9,000, I would target a move back down here towards this liquid zone at 86 to 85.50-ish region, and that will eventually start to meet up with this long-term rising support trend line coming in from May 13th major lows at 4,400 that Bitcoin's been following ever since for the last more than 2 months now, I suppose. Yeah, exactly over 2 months now, actually. So as long as we're above that trend line, which currently meets up with price action at about 81.50-ish region, I'm not really looking for like a big, massive reversal. For all the people talking about 7,000 or lower, I think that that's not relevant to the current discussion until we actually really break this area right here. Then yes, I would target a quick move down to 7,500 and then probably nice medium time frame bounce there, and then continuation down to low 7,000, like between 69 and 7,100-ish region. We'll get to that bridge when we do cross it. But my point is that until this area is broken right here, I really don't look for that as like the main thing to happen. And at some point, we will naturally be able to move that area up to the 85.50-ish region that we have right here. But for right now, I do still think that the more conservative route on this one is the better route, because all major movement averages are really starting to switch into a bullish posture. Not only did we look at the daily golden cross, which is, I would say, all but confirmed right now. By the way, I'm using a 55, not a 50 on this versus the 200. So it's naturally going to happen a little bit later. So if you're using the traditional 50, it's already happened and been confirmed rather well. But looking at the past efficacy of it, of which we went over yesterday, I think there were 6 iterations. We're working on number 7 right now. They've all been pretty damn good, except for I think one. This guy over here, I would consider a failed cross, a failed golden cross, but still from next low to next high, 15.5% up, pretty damn good. This cross over here, phenomenal, gives you a massive increase of about 172% essentially. And again, test down to the 21 as we get the cross after a nice big boost up in this consolidation for about a month long. Kind of sounds similar over here as well. A little bit more emotional on this current one though, to be fair. Going back before that, we do have one obvious fake out right here. Gets the golden cross right here, quite literally on the high. Any sort of a buy after that for the next like few months was just catastrophic. So that one, again, it's not perfect at the end of the day. I do want to show iterations where it's nothing in technical analysis is perfect, of course. This one over here, one of the better ones, massive move up, comes down as we got the golden cross to the 55, reaccumulates there, and then goes all the way from 300 to 20,000 a couple years later. Another failed one, I would say, over here, as we do get the golden cross on the high, comes back down and does give you a nice move up, to be fair, after testing the 200 at 23.5%. But, ultimately, does it even make a new high on top of that? No, it does not. It does not. And then the one prior to that brought you all the way from like $5 to 1,100, it looks like. So pretty damn good as well. And they all kind of follow the same sort of thing as you did see. We get the cross, and then Bitcoin typically comes down and tests around one of the major movement averages. In this case, accumulates on the 21 with wicks down to the 55 and 200. I mean, that's pretty stock standard historically speaking for Bitcoin, and I do like that as a nice pivot going onwards and forwards now. And I would say that the 200 exponential moving average is like now your obvious area for decision of returning back to long-term bearish again. I do think at the very least, if we break it, I'd be looking for a move down to about 7,000 ultimately, with bounces at 7,500. And like I said, if Bitcoin does get another closure above, like let's say 9,500 on a daily basis, I would move that area up to this last local low right here at 8,600. So it would move up by a good factor for a daily. Any sort of a close below there would be pretty damn bad. But here's the thing: the daily is actually secondary to the 2-day for spot price action for Bitcoin for myself. The 2-day is akin to the daily for CMEs, which I put a lot more weight on, and you'll actually see a lot of similarities between the two charts. And this golden cross is a lot more efficacious in like your traditional sense. If you look up the fucking definition, the dictionary definition of it, you'll see something like this, where you get the golden cross, price action comes down, tests your next major moving average, and then has a phenomenal reaction after that. And that's, I believe, what we're seeing right here. Again, going over the past iterations of it, similar one right on over here, test down to the 21, and then boom, 2x move to the upside. Hey, where did my cursor go? The fuck is going on there? That is so strange. My mouse is doing all sorts of weird things right now. It just keeps on floating around to my other screen. Stop it, mouse. Stop it. Other than that, we had a crossover here. And then before that, no other prior iterations. So this one would be number 3. Does that make it a good source of edge? Actually, not really, because you really want at least three tries, as that does make a trend. But could this be the third one that does formulate the trend? Well, I actually think likely yes. What else do we want to look at? The 12-hour as well. I really liked this one. Remember the 12-hour golden cross? We went over this, and this is also why I was not really getting bearish last week after this dump. That's why I bought it. Gets a golden cross, comes down to test 55. I mean, very similar to what we've seen before. Back on over here, golden cross, test down to the 55. Nice move to the upside. After that, same thing on the past iteration over here. Gets a golden cross, massive move to the upside, actually alongside with it, but test down to the 55 before further continuation from 5,000 to 14,000. And then, of course, several iterations in the past prior years, of which you can already guess the results most likely. So yes, I do actually think, personally speaking, if I'm giving my opinion here, which I probably shouldn't, because my opinion's worthless, and you already know this. You already know this. If you've been listening for even like a few weeks, you already know this. I trade technical analysis, not my opinion, but my opinion is that Bitcoin probably does, well, continue trend here. Trends are likely to continue, and we are in an uptrend all the way up to I believe a weekly. The weekly's still in a downtrend. Sorry, and yeah, the weekly's still in a downtrend, as long as we are below this prior high right here at 10,150 on a weekly closing basis. But I do believe that if Bitcoin even just takes out last week's high at 10,085.5, we will very likely, at the very least, test 10,500 and probably close above that region, transpiring that next move up to about 11,500 on the higher term time frames. Of course, there's going to be ebbs and flows on the lower terms, but as far as moving averages from a weekly perspective are working as well, I like this one right here. Again, doing a deep dive into the 21, not even adding the 55 on top of it, but just Bitcoin's relationship to the 21 and also the slope of the 21 have gotten the past market cycles perfectly, to be fair. Anytime that Bitcoin price action is above the 21 exponential moving average and has a positive slope, good. Anytime that Bitcoin's just even above the 21 is relatively good as well. But adding that next sort of factor onto it strengthens that sort of ideology. And same thing to the downside as well. You know, those are your bear markets without fail. Right here, right here, right here, and then more recently right here, getting all those downtrends saying that it's time to be a seller, not a buyer. Well, more recently, Bitcoin has gotten its first open and close above the 21, and now the 21 has a pretty nice positive slope. So I do like that, at least for a little bit of a try here. And momentum oscillators also pointed north as well. Weekly Stokes, nice and up there, and they will remain to the upside as long as Bitcoin price action is above 68.50 essentially. And weekly RSI is looking constructive here as well. I think that this one actually does fit within the bounds of this sort of what do you want to call this, falling wedge? You want to call it a falling channel. At the end of the day, you know, a bullish reaccumulation formation, and looks to me like it's broken out as of last week and is now retesting this region. And so far the retest is good, and that looks fine to me. I mean, that looks overall good to me. We already kind of saw the same thing on CME's chart over here. CME's chart a little bit more. Oh yes, this is what we were looking for on CME's chart. Fucking nice. CME reveals all. CME had the same sort of falling wedge. I trust this one a lot more than I do on Bitcoin spot. And what happens? Well, we broke out of it last week. We come back down and retested this week. You know, a bounce is to be expected. And that's also what was kind of driving that upwards bias here. Here's the thing though. If we do break back down below the 55 read right here, I would look for a return to the, you know, to the mean at about 50. But overall, you know, so far so good on the breakout, and as long as it maintains a 55 breakout region right there, I think continuation of the upside is likely. Again, you know, just looking at the weekly right here, you know, looks fine to me, really. And if we do want to make this a little bit more sophisticated, I suppose we could put on a 55 here too. We could see that the 55 and the 21's interaction with each other, plus the slope of the 21 combined with the 55, does offer up another dynamic as well, especially when they're coming from the same area and Bitcoin tests it perfectly, as you do see right here. So again, I do look at that area as a very, 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 very nice area to manage off of for a long-term trade at about $8,000 base, and that's going to move up naturally over time. Next tick should be 85, 86, assuming that we do get continuation of the upside here. And you know, again, like last time that we had an example this good was right on over here. This one wasn't even this good, right on over here, and this one led to about a 2x in price action. And before that, yeah, this one perhaps we don't really have enough iterations on, to be fair. But overall, I do like the way that it's acting thus far. Now, there are a couple of counter considerations, especially with the 2-day and 3-day momentum oscillators. So I should accurately represent this as well. I want to represent both sides, but with the caveat that I really don't get bearish from the 2-day perspective or the 3-day or the daily for that matter. As long as we are above that last local low at 8,600, if that breaks, extremely likely we'll see 8,000 and probably break it and see down to about 7,000 over time, not on the same day most likely. But we do see momentum oscillators turning down from the standpoint. 2-day Stokes going to be, well, maybe confirming to actually cross back up to the upside with the next 2-day closure, which closes tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Anywhere above 95.50, momentum will be turned back up to the upside, and I don't mind this at all. This is what I'm familiar with in traditional markets, with kind of like a you know, when you're in a strong trending market, you expect your momentum oscillators to get stuck in the control zones, kind of like what you saw right on over here, and to a lesser effect right on over here. And I do think that typically you will get a pity bounce off of your critical zone as well. Looking at the 3-day, same sort of thing too. Technically crossing down, will cross back up to the upside with any sort of a 3-day total closure above 99.37.7, and that's going to be closing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But here we also have the 21 crossing the 55 right here, and even better, more efficacious test too. Hey, stop. Hey, Bybit, I'm not interested in trading competitions. I'm not interested in fucking promoting exchanges right now. Jesus Christ. And again, I have nothing bad to say about the people at Bybit. I don't really care to use the exchange though. And it's not me like picking on an exchange. I don't think that there's any good options for exchanges. If an exchange has a trading competition, damn good insight that exchange is probably not anywhere a professional trader should actually be. That's for retailers. And well, you get retailer results in retail exchanges, and you can expect a retailer type support on retail exchanges. You know, you get where I'm going with that. Anyways, these trading competitions are just such fucking bullshit, man. Like, there's some days where I don't make trades. There's some weeks where I don't make trades because there's just not an edge to be given up. So when you have a trading competition, you're basically implying that, you know, you want your customers to gamble. Like, is that who you want in the back? Like, I get it, exchanges need to make money, totally understand that, but they're making so much fucking money off of fees anyways. Why why ruin your reputation over something like that with the people who probably actually do have trading accounts, trading accounts that actually mean something. Anyways, I'm getting way off base here. I'm probably just underslept and talking bullshit right now. Okay, cool. So looking at the 12-hour as well, we do see momentum oscillators will stay to the upside here, especially the 12-hour Stokes, confirming rejecting confirming a rejection of the bearish control zone is what I'm trying to say there, and also confirming, a nice low right here. And what do you know? We will stay to the upside as long as Bitcoin price action is above 8,700, kind of the same area that we were looking at yesterday. And I do like that area for I don't like that area for short term. I'd expect this to move down in line with our last prior low, of which you can see that that's actually happening right now. So all of that is well and good, and I do think that kind of all rhymes with each other too. I want to see if there's anything significantly different on CMEs right here. Of course, we do have that good old gap right around about $10,000 on CMEs. They do have a price premium on spot of about $100, so that would align with Bitcoin spot at about 9,800. That sounds familiar now, doesn't it? As that is the top side of the upper resistance that really changes around the higher term timeframes and starts to transpire more interesting moves for the long term, perhaps even correlating with the macro at that 11,500-ish region. But more importantly, first got to clear the last prior high at about 10,150 on a weekly closing basis, or 10,500 on a tick basis, whichever one happens first. It's going to be good to go as far as I'm concerned. And Bitcoin looks to me like it wants to take another leg up here. I mean, I don't really see any real reason for pullback. With historical volatility percentile this low, I think that we're getting ready for resolution like today, very likely. Looking at hourly historic volatility percentile, kind of following up from yesterday's analysis on this one, we do see an apex coming in at 17th of May, but that means that 70% fill is going to be actually today and tomorrow. So very likely that we see a break of the short-term range today or tomorrow. I do think so. And when I say the short-term range, I now mean either below our short-term range, I mean, technically it's like 9,300, although I'd be more conservative with it, say 9,000 down here, just to get this one, because it's going to be more important. And to the upside, I'd be looking for 9,800. To be tested when that starts to expand once again. And that's one thing that you can count on with volatility type metrics. They will expand and they will contract as based on math. Love it. Fucking love it, man. Anyways, okay, so I haven't even really looked at RSI here. I do want to say, though, for anyone who's looking for this RSI, this is actually public. Bali and Pig have made it public for anyone to use. Just type in RSI and then the and symbol EMA, and then look for the one that's published by Bollyport. It'll also have Pig in the title as well. I would if you enjoy this indicator, I'm not trying to force anyone to do anything here that they don't want to do, but if you do enjoy this indicator, I would humbly request that you do help them out on TradingView by liking their script, because their goal is to win the script of the month. And, they've been a massive help to this community. And I feel like it's important to give back, especially, because they're friends. Well, actually, I've never really spoken to Pig, but I assume he's probably a good dude. Anyways, as far as that goes, again, don't feel obligated to do it, but if you have found it valuable, I would strongly consider doing it, as it would be, a great benefit to them and also help their cause, and perhaps encourage them to do more things like that too. Anyways, as far as this one goes right here, do we have anything obvious on the RSI that's, suggesting anything right now? Lower term timeframes, do we have any sort of divergences being made? Maybe the hourly puts some in, but it's continuation right now, so not really. What about the buy hourly? Hey, get out of my face. Hey, there we go. No, triple hourly. Same thing. So I'm going to guess that the 4-hour probably is none as well. Yeah. 10-hour. What about that? So yeah, we don't have any divergences to be spoken about, as it is right now. 12-hour is going to regain the exponential right here after rejection of the bearish control zone. I like that too. And daily, what's a daily saying? Daily's kind of going to be testing around the edge of the bullish control zones as well relatively soon, which I'd imagine, comes in line with all the other major areas that we just spoke about. So yeah, more or less, I think that, I mean, if I had to call it right now, I do think that Bitcoin heads up to the 9,800-ish region, and then we probably play out a pullback from there, and then we'll come back and reassess. As long as Bitcoin's above 9,000 now, I'm overall just, biased to the upside. My bias boner is pointed north. If we do break 9,000 to the downside, I will look for a return back down to about 8,600-ish region. That's where things could change around perhaps again, but for right now, looks okay. As far as that goes, although lower term time frame oscillators are getting rather hot here, and historical volatility percentile is signaling that a move is coming sooner rather than later, probably today, maybe tomorrow. High probability of that. Speaking of probabilities, let's go look at our probability chart. But first, let's get our ranges straight in the best way possible. 9,000 to the downside is what I'd be looking for, but realistically, I want to see the percentage chance, or sorry, the probability of a 4-hour closing above this area right here, which would, in my opinion, likely transpire and move up to 9,800, give or take about $50. Above 9,800, that's where the higher term timeframes change around. Like I said, I don't expect that to happen today or tomorrow. Maybe a little more longer term. And then of course for the long term, 8,600 to the downside is about where I'm going to mark that level off as well. So as long as we maintain that, we got an uptrend. So favor goes to the BULAs here. So let's go see. Let's go see what these levels are coming in at. So I'm going to do 9,400 for the upside target range, and then to the downside, I'll do 9,000 on this one, even though it's kind of unfair because we're actually above 9,400 as it is right now. On the next 4-hour dildo, which closes in 1 hour and 27 minutes and 53 seconds, we do have a 43% chance, a little bit over 43% chance to close above this next resistance. Which, I mean, at that point, I suppose I do look up towards this region right here. As long as we maintain 9,300 on a 4-hour dildo closing basis, it offers up a very easy risk reward there, I suppose. Again, not guaranteed to work. There's nothing guaranteed in any game to work. But at the end of the day, that's starting to look pretty damn interesting. By the same token, I am curious what 9,300 would show on a 4-hour dildo closure. I'm curious what that would show. Yeah, 36%. So it is still a little bit, it is still a little bit in limbo here, whether the Bitcoin's actually going to clear that or not. If we use the more aggressive way of getting this, but this is, literally right on the edge right now. So, if we do go back down below 9,300, I probably would look for another test down to 9,150 at the very least. And what we could also do here now is, now that I look at it a little bit closer, we could flip this blue box up, but now they're just getting too close to each other in general. So it's not going to be all that helpful for trading, and this is what I really try to avoid to do, but fair enough. I mean, it is technically proper here. If we do break back down below, especially 9,050 on a 4-hour dildo closure, yes, I would target a move towards 8,600. So that is about a $400-$500 move. So that's certainly tradable. I'm curious what that would show. I'll just do 9,100, kind of mark it to the middle there, just out of curiosity, because that is a more dependable level. 7.5% again versus 43%. So still favor to the BULAs here as far as probabilities go. Looking at a 12-hour, we do have a significant favor towards the BULAs. Again, 39.5% to the upside above 9,400, and 26 and spot 38% to the downside below, of course, 9,100, which transpires that next move. On a daily closing basis, we do have a 42 and a third chance to close above 9,400, and a 33.5% chance to close below 9,100. So it's still, it's still kind of up in air. But let's see what the probability of testing the long-term range is. So the long-term ranges that actually really starts to change around a lot of price action is 9,800 to the upside and about 8,600 to the downside. So now we should see something a little bit more valuable here for the long term. So upside target probability is 16%, which is right on the precipice of the first standard deviation. So is this within the realm of possibility or a reasonable chance of happening? Actually, yes, it actually is. From a statistical standpoint, it is. Do I think that it happens today? Probably not. No. Below 8,600, what's the probability of that? 6.5%. So where does that kind of fit in? It's certainly lower. Is it within the realm of possibilities between the first and second deviation? So I would say yes, technically speaking, yes. But it does look like the upside probability is significantly more right now. I can't even speak. Let's look at future bars and analyze the slope of this. It's the same. At least it looks the same right now. Yeah, 12-hour and daily both confirming that, both to the upside. So I do like that as a squeeze. So yeah, overall, I guess I'm still bullish here. The trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and then you got a new friend if you let it be. Let's go look at NASDAQ futures. They actually dumped off a little bit yesterday. I was looking for a swipe at the lows yesterday, which we got, but we actually went a little bit lower than what I was looking for. I'm a little bit unconfident on what's going on right here. Is this putting in a rising channel or a rising broadening wedge? Perhaps yes, that would be a reversal pattern. But I suppose I would like to err on the side of caution here, just because the weekly does look more or less fine to me still, at least as it is right now. And I would not really get bearish as long as we're closing daily dildos above the 21 right here, which is 88.34. 30-ish region. It looks like we probably come back down and test around it, but with the strength in Bitcoin, does that translate into strength in this as well? Yes, they typically do move together over the macro, not on a day-to-day basis. Silly people on crypto Twitter, but on the macro, well, the last 10 years of history would say so, yes. So I don't really want to call that trend over on just one day's worth of action, where this one came back down and tested support after making a new high, and Bitcoin made a new high, I suppose. Maybe Bitcoin's maybe they're just on a slightly different time scale. Perhaps that could be it. Anyways, looking at the weekly, I feel a lot more confident on this one, just because as long as it's closing weekly doors above 8,800, I don't really see any real reason to get bearish on it for like even the short or medium term. Medium term. Short term, obviously yes, because it did come down relatively hard yesterday. Let's go look at E-mini futures for SPY. Same sort of thing here too. Came back down to the prior day's lows. This one looked a little bit more obviously bearish, and I would say that on the daily closures right here, this is looking a lot more toppy. This one's actually very concerning. If anything's indicative of the markets coming down, it's SPY. And I would say we could probably use yesterday's low as a continuation point. That would be 2786. If you want to be a little more conservative, I'd use 2771. And if those areas are taken out with just a tick, I would look for a return back down to 2700 even. Probably a small bounce there, and then set up for continuation of the downside, maybe into the low 260s. But as I've been saying for a long time now, I actually do think that the lows for the stock market are in. That doesn't mean that I don't think that we can come back down to even 250 or 240. But making a new low, I think, is going to be rather difficult, just based off of historical volatility percentile getting so damn hot over here. That typically is indicative of a long-term major low, alongside momentum also just kind of confirming that fact with putting in some sort of divergences on these lows too. Especially your Stokes too, kind of turning from the same area. We could also look at the Hearst Exponent as well, as that's actually been pretty damn good at it, but I'll probably wait for Bolly on that one. Anyways, looking at gold continuing, it looks like. I do look at this as a nice flag out formation here, as I've been saying, a nice symmetrical triangle with likely to break out to the upside, even though I do have it also charted out as a descending triangle. I want to represent both sides, but I would not get bearish as long as it's above 1685. If 1685 is broken, then yes, I'd look for a move back down to 1630, 1620, but even then, I look at that as an opportunity. I've been bullish on gold for a while. I don't care about gold at all, but I do think that it does break to the upside here. And now that it's kind of got its own little reaccumulation formation, it can, come up with an implied target. Just doing a little bit of bad mental math here. I'd 50 on top of that. Yeah, somewhere around 1780 to 1800-ish region is where I'd be looking towards. Obvious resolution above our last prior spike high here at 1747, so it's not all that helpful. But for a $50 move on this price point, okay. On a shorter term time frame, perhaps a daily close above 1730 gets it as well. Okay, all right. We covered up all that. Link, is this one worth looking at, or am I just playing into the Link Marines fantasies? Do you think that it has some more downside here? Probably back down to 36,000 base. Cardano, what are you doing? You're a dead heartbeat. The dead heartbeat narrative of this market. That is a dead motherfucking heartbeat. But Crown, my Cardanos are very heavily, they have the best technology of all time. Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know? I get these messages all the time. No, I don't know anything about the technology, but this chart is bullish. It's actually very bullish, because let me show you my very sophisticated technical analysis for this, which I see all the fucking time on Twitter. And it goes a little something like this. All right, guys. So Cardano is 95.5% down from the highs, because those mean whales have been manipulating Cardano. But you know what that means? Do you know what that means? When this thing gets going, it's going 1,800%. I'm going to be at break even. Fuck! Okay, no more altcoin requests. Buterol, probably going to follow Bitcoin as he typically does. Litecoin, looks like absolute dog shit, but probably going to follow Bitcoin if Bitcoin just hangs in here a little bit longer. So yeah, we'll wrap it up with Bitcoin now. This video is already way too long. So short-term time frame ranges, I suppose now that we're actually clearing out this 9400-ish region, I could move up to 9350. If 9350 does get broken back to the downside, or if we just take out this last 4 hours low, I would look for a return back down here towards 9050. That's where things start to change around for me once again, as I would get medium-term bearish for another $500 or $600 extension down to 8550 to 8600-ish region down here. That's where the higher-term time frames change, as if we do break 8600, we will have a downtrend confirmed on the daily. And I would look for an immediate move, not immediate, but I'd look for a move down to 7,500, bounce there, and then continuation down to low 7,000. Then we'll come back and reassess. However, assuming that Bitcoin holds above 9,400, as long as you can confirm this next 4 hour delta above there, maybe retest it a few times too, that's fine. I actually do look for extension to 9,800-ish first. And if 9,800 is broken on a daily delta closing basis, I would target, the obvious area would be the last prior high right here, but I don't think that we'd stop there. I think that the next area would be 10,500 for another $600, $700 trade. And that's where the weekly trend starts to really change around, as we actually would have our first higher high in like over a year. Pretty damn cool. Okay, I think that's a good place to kind of wrap it up. I'll be signing off now. I want to wish you well once again. Take care, and until next time.